4 brothers. Safan, Bagan, Under, and Afla, bound by eternal purpose. And a girl named Mo. Mo has learned to sleep under the hissing tubes and the ever-humming chambers. The pumping cylinders give her comfort, the drumming of a job well done. Nothing startles her more than silence. There is no rest for the apprentice. Their engineering can be studied and replicated, but their strength they selfishly keep. Despite all the wiring and the manufactured tubes, the engines are powered by physical force. Safan. He was always the weakest of the 4. He is struggling to breathe. Even Mo can taste the stale air in her mouth. It seems the ventilation system isn't working properly, but nothing does without the engine. Without the veil, the air is too toxic to breathe. And just as Mo feared, the vents have all shut. The poison is kept out, but so is the oxygen. Safan is slowly suffocating, and the other 3 may have it worse. Without power, the observatory is not much use. It shows all 3 purifiers are down, as if more needed any confirmation beyond the spores in the air. This is on you, Safan. Mo grunts. Pray it is not too late for me to fix your mess. The smell made it clear. It died a long time ago, and now the spores are taking hold of whatever remains. A better fate than the fungus eating you alive. Do not worry. I will fix your mess, and I will save our homes. More reassures herself. More shudders. She knows the damage the spores are capable of. The fungus first poisoning the mind, then ever so slowly consuming the body. How it will spoil the verdant soil and obscure the midday sun. Despite all of its dangers, more frequently inhales the poison. An occupational hazard, she calls it. A sacrifice others weren't willing to make. The children used to all come here together. Miri, Mo, their friends, for the seaberry jam, the scarecrows and the rides, and then the exodus happened. A few violent coughs, a few eerie apparitions, won't keep her from doing her job. After all, she is the bearer of the Omni Switch. The island of Beva, once a bustling place, before a great exodus, now just a pile of broken things and abandoned ideas. The island hosts the purifiers guarding Safan's domain, and not much else anymore. He should be inside, with the windows shut and doors locked. Moore's heart skips a beat. Either the fungus got to him, or he is somewhere out there, fiddling with the purifiers himself. Moore remembers every one of these masks, the people who once wore them, the lingering memories of people, in one way or another, now gone. The berry farmer sighs, exhausted from his struggle. Living things are his purview, not machines. Moore frowns, her frustration growing. She warned him not to toy with the machines. Moore's uncle huffs, disappointed at his niece's rudeness. For heaven's sake, was I meant to just watch as the poisonous dust slowly settled around my island? He was meant to stay inside and wait for her to be done. His heroics were simply unneeded. Moore dares to take a deep breath. The air still tastes foul, but the acrid poison is mostly gone. 2 more to go. Everything is responding the way that it should. Looks like the old man didn't touch anything important. Relief washes over her uncle at the sight of her success. Feeling thankful and a little ashamed, he offers some seaberry wine as reconciliation. He hands over his key, a sign of his trust, and asks her to fetch them a bottle of his finest, the one tucked away in the shed. Maybe she is being too harsh on her uncle. He is only trying to help, after all. Moore considers the bottle in her hands and spending a small moment with the farmer. But too many lives are in danger. Too many things are at stake. The glass will simply have to wait. I can take it, she whispers. I just need to keep moving. It's not my first time doing this. A few violent coughs, a few eerie apparitions. She has been sent to these places before. I'm okay, she tells herself, but it feels more real than ever. Someone is shouting. I'm okay, she replies. I'm okay. He is glad that he found her, and he laughs off his worry for now. But unvoiced irritation sticks in his throat. He knows she will downplay it. It is routine now. The arguments they have had on repeat. About her hypocritical ways. How she doesn't wear a mask when she forces others to. How she poisons herself. He settles instead, for just a few words of concern. Boan and Beva are cleansed, but the batteries won't last. It's time for Zafar to do his part. When they gave her the Omni switch, they honored and bound her. The human they chose as their apprentice, now tasked to save them all. Empty. Somewhere deep in this labyrinth, the power lines are cut. Power should flow through this capacitor, but it's not finding its way here. The brothers may be old, but they are not immortal. And neither are you. What will be left of you when you're gone? Only dust and What do you think will happen when you leave? Who will take your place? You are staying right here. On these forsaken rocks you call a home. A death sentence. That's what every plant brought down here will find. Things don't flower this deep underground. They wither. You can feel it yourself, can't you? Takes a deep breath and exhales in relief. She saved Safa from a suffocating slumber and Beva and Born from a poisonous death. Moore's mind. Check on your sister, her uncle said. Despite the coming fight, she can already see. The coming fight they always have. Moore will have to go home. Not just for Brother Berger, but her sister Miri too. The foulness in the air kept Moore from being able to pinpoint the smell, but it's clear now that she has an extra passenger, a hidden creature, smelling of rotting prey and wet fur. Moore stares at the creature, assessing its glare. She won't start a fight. She has no time to nurse an injury. It's not even doing anything. It's just sitting around. Miri agreed to stay back home whenever Moore needed to go below, but more and more frequently, the only thing left at home are fights. Miri fails to grasp the importance of Moore's work. Who else could do the things her sister has to do? Instead of valuing Moore's sacrifice, Miri is just being a burden. Miri has been diligently growing crops ever since Moore could remember. No blight could take her down. She'd always start anew. There would be lines each month for the fresh harvest. Does the world have to end for you to come and visit me? Miri jokes at her younger sister, her sarcasm masking her disappointment. Miri tries to reach through and speaks earnestly. It's nice to see you, Moore. I missed you. And she asks Moore to come in for stew. But as if unjustly charged for a crime, Moore defends herself, pushing Miri away. I only came to make sure that you're doing okay. Miri nods. She spent all morning trying to bring her animals inside. She reaches out once more to Moore. I can help you. I'll get ready and I'll come too. No, Moore cuts her off. I'm quicker without you tagging along. I got this. You take care of your chickens. They used to be our chickens. Miri snaps in frustration. You used to care. What even am I to you? For Moore, it's just another confrontation on the island's surface. Another angry outburst from her irate sister, making Moore long for the calm and dark below. But for Miri, it is one more ill-fated attempt to get her sister back. If you leave now, I won't be here when you get back. I mean it this time. Fridolin will escape again, but he just needs his own space. Mo can sympathize with that. Mo hated the rust bucket of a bath, but it was still preferable to cutting your feet on the rocky beach again. Miri retrained herself to play the cello after the fungus ate her arm. Mo never found the right moment to say how impressed she was. Mo remembers watching the stars streak across the sky, Miri's face lit by the moonlight, full of wonder, both wrapped up warm in their duvets, their shared silence saying everything they needed. Miri prefers her tea dark and bitter, to wake her in the early hours. Mo would much rather sleep in and stuff herself with the sugary walnut cookies. Mo and Miri had a system for the beds, but now, Miri always sleeps in the top bunk. Mo can hear the silence under the island's crust, machines aching, begging her to fix them. I won't be here when you come back. I'll leave you on this forsaken piece of rock. How many times has Miri threatened to disappear, not once going through with her word? She always comes around in the end. For a moment, Moore regrets not going back to get her mask, but she's never been one for moving backwards. Even in this vision, conjured by the fungus in her lungs, the way out is forward. The lighthouse that once brought travelers home, trade to these islands, and customers to the tavern, now stands still. Before she left, the lightkeeper's wife loved to paint. Moore always admired her skill. Her things were left behind in haste, and he never touched them since. The gate to the lighthouse. As long as Moore can remember, the lightkeeper was always on duty, saving sailors from the sharp rocks surrounding these islands. But since the Great Exodus, he has been drowning, touching glasses with whatever phantoms are left at that watering hole. She remembers playing with his son, how they would swim between the rocks, how his wife would bring them inside and warm them up with a bowl of soup, and her smile. More wonders if he remembers too. A barbed nostalgia sharply tugs at Moore's heart. I forgot how much I missed the sky and stars. His wife wouldn't risk losing the boy to the blight, but he decided to remain this island's lightkeeper, unable to bear losing what purpose he thought he had. So they set sail without a father. A gentle vertigo crawls over Moore's body, the satisfying tingle of light danger. One of her favorite sensations. Mo takes in a final breath of Leusa's air. Much better, she congratulates herself. Now your chickens can come back out, sister. She does not expect gratitude from her sister, or an apology, but Mo does expect to be welcomed home. Now that the air is safe to breathe again, Miri must have calmed down and gone to make sure that the stew is still warm. Food is always her way of apologizing. Dead things in frames. A petty attempt at preserving beauty. How can you occupy yourself with that? With the lives depending on you? You are beyond these tools now, so primitive and human. You are the bearer of the Omni Switch. But deep down, you know and understand. You are far from worthy of it. Mo hasn't seen her grandmother for a while now, but Granny would never make a scene about it. Yet Mo feels anxious stopping by. Not because she doesn't like her. She likes the old woman too much. The ventilation system grew through her house, wrecking her bedroom, study, and kitchen. She could have moved away, but she wasn't willing to concede a single inch. Hopefully, she hasn't blocked the valve with her morbid laboratory. Miri is not here, the old woman says, but that is not why you've come. Mo tries to tell her how dire it is, how Under and the others have succumbed, how she needs to do what must be done. But her grandmother merely smirks behind her mask. Now look at you. How important you've become. People are counting on you. Yes, yes. Another chuckle behind the air filter. I have something very important for you to do as well. Would you be so kind as to do me a favor? A favor, she calls it. It may as well be an order. Granny has always had her way of getting what she wants. Old companions, the grandmother says, that I have held on to quite long enough. It's time to bring them home. Promise me. More's heart plunged into her stomach. She knew what Granny was implying. You do not decline a request like this. More promised. Memorfesti and Graba are connected by a bridge that Mo has never fully crossed. The walk always seemed too long, and what lies beyond is what she dreads most. Grandma was never interested in anything made by the giants. Lifeless metals and cold steel, she called it. She preferred spending time with the fungus, breeding colorful, voracious new strains. Mo had always looked up to her grandmother, devoting her hours to caring for the dead and the living alike. An enigmatic and stubborn woman who was far smarter than many assumed. You can go back now, Mo. You did the work. You could just tell the old woman off. It's not like you're her servant. Yes, of course, you promised. But she was asking too much. Your grandmother doesn't care about your struggles. That old hag. Throw the figures into the sea. And just say you returned them. With a little disrespect for the dead. If it saves the living. Mo's hand clutches the gemstone in her pocket, left behind by her older sister. Her heart is drowning in a deluge of goodbyes, all of them equally real in Miri's unread letter. more expected Grabber to be swallowed by the spores, so this episode comes as no surprise. However, she did not expect to feel so at home here. Grabber, where we bring our dead, where we surrender their bodies to the blight, a place too virulent to visit, so we mourn at home over sculpted effigies. Moore finds no solace in these rituals, but for all their hard work, the giant's machines are not welcome in these hallowed grounds. was too small to fully understand what was happening during the Exodus, but she saw what the poison was doing to the people around her, plaguing the mind with visions, corroding and eating the flesh. She couldn't bear to watch person after person disappear from her life, so she hid in the networks below. Far away from it all, she never found out exactly who succumbed to the poison and who made it off the island, but it barely matters to her when they're all still gone. Most of Moore's family is still here, however. They couldn't leave their little Moore behind. She is proud now to have been tasked to protect them, by virtue of the knowledge and power she found. For when she went below and found the fabled giants, when she befriended them as the only human in generations, they forged the Omni-Switch for her and made her their apprentice. She spent years confined in the underbelly of these islands, just so the surface could shine. She hopes her family is proud as well. Miri has 2 figurines in our home, a recent addition, but she has not told Mo who she is mourning. Miri has told Mo that she has a figure ready for her too, just in case. How many times has Miri thought of taking that figure here? All the times Mo would disappear below. All the times Mo was gone for months without contact. Miri not knowing each time whether her little sister would come up again. not knowing for months whether the catacombs or the blight had finally taken Mo for good. Granny's decided that she's grieved enough. Two giants still struggling for air. Only half of the engines running. Only half of her world protected. But at least this promise she has now fulfilled. She knows she has a pressing task to finish, the one in the physical world. But maybe, in this place, where time has no meaning, she can stay for a moment and rest. Mother says, thank you and asks for one more favor. Would you sit with this old woman and listen to the birds and the water? Granny remembers how people from far away would visit Beva and Leuze to have a few days of peace, a few days of nothing but islands, and how lucky little Moore was to have a lifetime of it before the Exodus, before her calling. Moore responds she only has a minute, but her grandmother smiles, patting the empty seat beside her. Then, a minute of islands will do. The foul taste of stale air is even stronger here. Enough distractions. Ande, the giant slumbering beneath Memorfesti, is the oldest of the four brothers. Older not by years, but by centuries. A fitting guardian for the islands of the dead. His throat making no sound, his chest frozen in place. Make haste, Moore. Maybe you haven't killed him yet. They say your youth was taken from you. But think of the years of good you could have done. If the Omni Switch had found you earlier. Nothing but a spasm. Pathetic. Try harder. Again. Again. Stupid dolls. She knew you needed to get here as fast as possible. How could you let her distract you like that? Ande almost died because of your sentimentality. And Afla is as good as dead. Your grandmother, Miri. What help have they been? Whining to your face, talking behind your back. They secretly want you to fail. Maybe they're pleas of concern. We're driven by ill will all this time. You are alone in this. You always were. And maybe it's better that way. The rusty husks scrape against her boat. Years of flotsam and jetsam, seeking vengeance to the boats that dare tread around Adi. When the blight first came, people began to panic. Unsure of the future, they planned to flee instead of fighting the poison. But the mist is as deadly on the open sea as it is on land, deceiving countless sailors into steering their vessels back to these shores. Mole would rather not talk to Fenya, the last of the shipmakers, and one of Mole's most bitter rivals. But if she is to sail to Fayon, she will need Fenya's notes, her ever-growing brief. A paper savior of boats, or risk being devoured by the iron shards between here and Fayon. Fenya's incredible talent spent on building an ark? She is preparing for your failure. The jealous roach is counting on it. Imagine your family lost in the mist on this useless piece of junk. Fenya ignores her. But Moore's fury demands attention. This is your grand plan? Flee, like every single coward before you? Fenya has heard it all before. The accusations of envy and sabotage. How the Ark's mere existence is an insult to Moore. But she won't respond. Not anymore. She just does what she can. map for herself. How would Fenrir guide the Ark to safe waters without it? Fenrir gathers all the composure she can muster for a response. Your arrogance is clouding your judgment, bearer of the Omni Switch. Scorn and worry are woven into every word of Fenrir's accusations. Saving this world is too big a task. Even for you, this Ark is your family's only chance. Go home. Be with them. Prepare to leave. Check the map again. Fion is supposed to be here, but it's just scraps and junk. This map is useless. That roach is useless. It is sunk too deep to be reached. This whole rotten island is against you. And you deserve it. Afla is already gone, and you know it. You really think you will find something here? Do you even know where you are? They're right to hate you. In the end, everybody will leave you, and you know why. In the end, what have you done to deserve their gratitude? Nothing. Pretender, fraud, child. The brothers should never have trusted you with the Omni Switch. You were never strong enough to wield it. Useless. Might as well end the charade now. And throw yourself into the sea. Moore drifts ashore onto a patch of land so small it was named by a child, who named this quiet, empty place Garnin. It was home to some birds and a cold wilderness, but for Moore, it housed a drowning sorrow. The tumultuous waters of her emotions grow rougher with every step she takes, as she bears the weight of everyone's lives upon her shoulders. It flows underneath her skin, growing as she sees everything that she knows, loves, has fought so hard for, crumble in front of her eyes, all because of something she did. There is nothing we can do but to see ourselves for what we are, nothing left, but to finally let go of our broken dreams and our lost hopes. None of us can stand in isolation and carry the world on their shoulders. None of us must bear everything by themselves. No one is an island. The spores are creeping in again, no matter how hard they struggle. Safan and his brothers simply cannot stem the tide any longer. Afla gone and underbroken, centuries of labor taking their toll. She knows what must be done.